How to get clients as a social media consultant. That's what you're wondering, and that's why you're here. Well, that's why I'm here too. I've got the answer to that exact question for you today on this episode of The Inside BS Show. Hi there, my name is Dave Lorenzo. This is the Inside BS Sales Tip Show. Today we're focusing on how to get clients as a social media consultant. I want to thank you for joining me here today. I'm going to share with you in this video the 6-step process that will help you get clients as a social media consultant. I also have a 7th step for you, and that's the secret that brings everything together. I'm also going to give you my process, my roadmap for attracting clients like a magnet. I'm going to give that to you for free, and I'm going to give that to you in the middle of our show. So at the middle of the show, you got the free gift from me. At the end of the show, you get the secret that brings everything together. We're going to start right now with tip number 1 for how to attract clients as a social media consultant. And tip number 1 is you have to identify your ideal client. Most people think that they can go out as a consultant, especially a social media consultant, just kind of hang a shingle, and anybody will come to you when they need help with their social media. They think that they can go to a Chamber of Commerce event and reach out their hand and shake hands with people or hand a business card to somebody, and they're going to want to do business with you tomorrow. After all, as a social media consultant, you can help them grow their business. Who doesn't want to grow a business? Well, it's not that simple. You need to find the ideal client for you, and you need to base it on, number 1, who can you help get results quickly? Number 2, who can you help get results for the long term? And number 3, who can you work with that will give you a shot when they don't have a previous relationship with you? So my focus as a social media consultant would be to work with people who've used another social media consultant in the past and were unhappy with the results, but they still are dedicated to social media as a way to grow their business. Why do I want you to be the 2nd or the 3rd social media consultant they've used? If they've used somebody else and that person didn't do a good job and you can win them over, you can provide them with phenomenal results and blow them away, and they will stay with you forever. You never want to be somebody's first girlfriend or boyfriend, and you never want to be somebody's first social media consultant, because people don't know what they have. They don't know how good you are if they have nobody to compare you to. So my counsel to you is, first and foremost, decide who your ideal client is using the criteria: who can you help fast, who can you help for the long term, and who can you provide value to in comparison to somebody else. Identifying your ideal client is step number 1. If you're ready to move on to step number 2, join me for that right now. Now we're up to step 2 in this process, and step 2 is to go out and find those ideal clients in groups so that you can use leverage to connect with them en masse. Now, this is critically important because I know, because of your profession, you could easily focus on networking or on one-on-one marketing activities. That's not going to be as productive for you as going out and looking for groups of people who are your ideal clients. Now, you're thinking to yourself, okay, Dave, that's great. So use leverage, target these folks in groups, but how the hell am I going to find them? Here's the way that you can find these folks very easily. Go to your best client, the person who fits that ideal client profile, and say to him, Mr. Client, let me ask you a couple of questions. Where do you go? What do you read? Who else do you work with? What other service providers do you work with to help you be effective and efficient in your business, Mr. Client? When you ask your ideal client these questions, you're going to get clues for how to target these clients, these ideal clients, the people you want to work with, the exact folks who are perfect for you. When you ask these questions of your best client, they're going to give you a path to connecting with other people who are just like them. The reason you want to know all this is because you want to speak in those places. You want to write articles and get them published in those publications. You want to connect with people who sell things to your ideal client to do joint ventures. This is the research you need to do in order to target your ideal client in mass. You need to attract dozens, if not hundreds, or even thousands of new prospects at a time. This is the way you start. That's step 2. Now it's time for you to join me for step 3. Let's go. And now it's time to talk about step 3. Step 3 is to make a free offer to the audience that you've got in front of in mass. Now, you can make this free offer either in an article that you've written, or from the stage if you're speaking, or in an email if you're doing direct email solicitation, or even in direct mail in a direct mail letter. When you make this offer to your audience, you're basically saying to them, here's more of the information that I shared with you when we first met. If you'd like more information, you can get it from me now. And if you get the free offer from me, I will follow up with you. And that's the key. You need to make your free offer, your offer of free information, so compelling that people cannot resist. And anyone who's seen you give a speech, or watched one of your videos, or listened to you on a radio interview. In fact, I'm going to demonstrate that concept for you right now. I have a free offer for you for watching this. If you'd like my entire process outlined in a way that you can immediately implement in your business, go to revenueroadmapguide.com. revenueroadmapguide.com. You can find a link to that site down in the description, and then simply enter your name, your contact information, and you will receive my free offer. And that's a 27-page white paper. It's a fill-in-the-blank paper that you can use as a marketing plan to grow your business. This is the entire strategy that I'm sharing with you in this video. Step 3 is make a free offer to your audience. I'm demonstrating that to you right now. There are dozens of different ways to do this, but this is such a critical step because people who get the free offer, they convert from people who are suspects, people you suspect would be good clients for you. They convert into prospects, people who you know would be good clients for you if they have the urgency to work with you. So step 3, make a free offer. Join me in step number 4 right now. So who's qualified to get in there? Who's qualified to come into your office and work with you? What do I mean by qualified? Well, that's the next step in our process. You see, we must qualify them after they opt in to receive our free report and before we nurture them. So the qualifying step takes place before we even put these people into our system to follow up with them. We have to check in with them to see if they have the 4 things that are necessary for them to get in here to do business with us. What are those 4 things? Well, first, we have to make sure that the person that we're dealing with is actually a decision maker. What does that mean? We have to make sure the person has the financial authority to sign a contract. The person has the ability to commit their business, to commit their organization, or to commit themselves or their families to working with us. The second thing we need to make sure of is the person that we're talking to has to have a problem that we can solve. If they don't have a problem we can solve, this whole thing is for naught. The whole thing is useless. The third thing we need to make sure of is they have to have urgency. They have to be ready, willing, and able to take action right now. And then the fourth thing, of course, they have to have the money. They have to be able to pay us. If they can't afford to pay us, then we'd be doing charity work. So those 4 things are critically important. Now, oftentimes people will have 3 of the 4. They'll be a decision maker, they'll have a problem we can solve, and they'll have the ability to make a decision. They just don't have the urgency to get going with us right now. And what do we do with those people? Well, if they don't have the urgency, we follow up with them forever. We nurture them. And that's the next step in the process. So join me as we walk through that door to go to the next step in our process, which is the nurturing step that comes after the qualifying step. And now we're up to step 5 in the process. And step 5 is very simple. You need to communicate with the people who've given you their information, and you need to communicate with them frequently. They've opted in to receive something from you. They've opted in to receive something they perceive has a high value. Now it's your turn to connect with them on a regular basis. Think about it this way. How often do you communicate with your best friend? How often do you communicate with the people who are most important to you in your life? If you communicated with them less often, would your relationship get stronger or would it get weaker? The reality is, frequency of communication builds trust. And what we're trying to do here is we're trying to build a relationship, because your business, your practice, your company is going to be built on the foundation of relationships. Even in a setting where people say, oh, I do business in the business to business space. You're not doing business with a building. You're doing business with another person. And the essence of relationships is productive communication between the participants. You need to communicate with everyone who's given you their contact information as frequently as you can. And that's the nurturing process. And that's the part of this entire sales process that holds everything together. Now, I want you to join me whether or not these folks are ready, willing, and able to help us grow our business, to invest in our services. Join me right now. So now we're at the part of the process where it's time for you to invite people in and invite them to become a client. So now it's up to you to invite them in to do business with you, and you do this through what's called a gateway engagement. This is an offer to work with them in a non-threatening, low barrier to entry way. It's an offer that is really easy for them to comprehend. They see the return on investment. They see that it will solve an imminent problem they're facing. Let me give you a couple of examples. One of the ways that I offer a gateway offering to my clients is I do events on a regular basis. So you can come down to Miami and do an in-person event with me for one day, and it may cost you $5. They're going to experience your services. I highly recommend you engineer this into your process and you make offers of gateway services every 5 or 6 emails that go out to your weekly email newsletter list. Now, you can offer the same gateway engagement over and over again, or you can offer different offerings every 5 or 6 weeks. You can come up with 3 different offerings that you rotate. It's totally up to you. It's dependent upon who's on your list and what it takes to engage them. Now it's time for step number 7. This is the final step. This is the thing I told you was going to tie everything together. You don't want to miss this. Join me back inside as I share with you our final tip for today, the one thing you don't want to miss, coming up right now. We are up to step 7 in how to get clients as a social media consultant. I want to thank you for joining me for this. This is the big secret. Step 7, the big secret. Before we get to that, please hit the subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up if you like the content. Let me know down in the comments what you want to see other videos on. There'll be another video right after this. Please watch it. You're going to make a lot of money if you continue to watch these videos. Okay, social media consultants, here's your big secret. Always think long term. The client who started working with you today could work with you for 20 years or more. They could follow you for the rest of your career if you think long term. If you put the relationship first and not the transaction, you will always do well. You'll make a lot of money, and I can't wait to see you become even more successful than you already are. Join me in my next video. There's one that's going to pop up right next to me right now. Join me in the next video. I'll see you there. Make sure you get your revenue roadmap down the description. There's a link down there. But right now, watch this next video. Go for it. Watch the video right now.